administration. He said the program, which was championed by him, was the largest investment in healthcare in Ghana's history. He was speaking to past and present constituency executives and former NPP government officials at the beginning of his 3-day engagement in the Greater Accra region.
Yeti, another one I made it by one constituency, one ambulance. We did that. We took 2,300 people into the National Ambulance Service. Another idea, Agenda 111. We're building these hospitals. NDC is not yet continuing with them. If they don't do so, when we come back, we will finish their Agenda 111 hospitals and employ people in them. If you look at what we have done, Gold for Oil, Gold Purchase Program. Now the Gold Purchase Program is the first of its kind in the whole of Africa. No other country, and it is not in a textbook. It is from the mind. It's not in a textbook. It's from the mind. We thought about it and said, this is the way for Ghana to go. We have not done this since independence. And now everything that everybody is talking about is gold, gold, gold. We had been there since independence. Nothing was happening until Dr. Bawumia said, Gold Purchase Program, let's do it. And now that is the standard that we have set for this country.
Still on politics this afternoon, former member of parliament for the Eastern ex-Greater Accra Regional Minister Nikwete Titus Glover has praised former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for what he described as his unmatched impact on the lives of Ghanaians. According to him, none of Ghana's vice presidents under the Fourth Republic, including the late Professor John Evans Atta Mills, the late Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, and President John Dramani Mahama, made a significant impact on the citizenry like Dr. Bawumia did. He was speaking during a 3-day campaign engagement in the Greater Accra region with Dr. Bawumia.
Bebetu Aliyu Mahama, Edima President Kufuor. Bebetu Professor Mills, Edima Rawlings too. Bebewu John Mahama, Edima Atta Mills. Of all these vice presidents, none of them, and I repeat, none of them has impacted into the lives of the Ghanaian people and the general public of this country. Nobody will come in at the boom because a number and she shall be a good from no he did this when he was the vice president. So you can imagine when he's given the mantle of leadership to become the president of this country. We cannot experiment. We cannot change the team that we have. Kugudu, Honorable Kofi Braku Waha, Honorable Shona Waha, Honorable Nino Waha, your senior Honorable Kekete Waha, as former members of parliament. We are solid behind you. We want to assure you, with the colleagues, everybody here present, that we'll do our best and make sure that, inshallah, by the grace of God, the Lord will speak and will come. I will take you to the promised land.
Let's do some more politics this afternoon. As Member of Parliament for Ebrim constituency, Redu Isuako Charles has called for the resignation of the Minister for Communication and Digital Innovation, Honorable Sam George, accusing him of lacking the temperament and emotional intelligence required for the role. Speaking at a minority press conference on the back of the DSTV saga, the MP said the minister has breached the President's Code of Conduct, failed to deliver on his mandate, and is therefore unfit to lead such a strategic ministry.
MultiChoice publicly challenged him for inaccurately claiming that there had been an agreed reduction in prices. They issued a press release denying this assertion. Just yesterday, MultiChoice released a new statement clarifying that breakthrough the minister announced during his press conference as a result of his effective negotiations. In fact, they said what they were giving Ghanaians were merely promotional offers. This clearly aligns with what we stated in one of our earlier press statements. It is also demonstrated that the minister lacks the temperament and emotional intelligence for such a critical role. He has demonstrated this same trait on numerous public utterances, insults to citizens and industry players during the process. By adopting an arbitrary decision-making posture, the minister is also denying regulators, such as the NCA, the opportunity to perform their work according to law, which clearly threatens the growth of this sensitive industry. His actions also signal a breach of the President's Code of Conduct that requires candor and respect to all persons. Fellow Ghanaians, for this display of ineptitude, incompetence, and penchant for deceit, we of the minority demand that 1, the minister render an unqualified apology to Ghanaians for the waste of the nation's time and resources on this venture. 2, we call on him to account for the fines levied on DSTV. And 3, we deem him unfit to continue as the minister for this strategic ministry of communication, digital technology, and innovation, and therefore call on him to resign or for His Excellency the President to fire him.
Let's move on to some social issues now. As a member of parliament for the Guan constituency, Fred Agbenyo has lamented severe issues facing his constituency. From no schools in some communities, terrible classroom blocks, poor health conditions and poor road networks as a barrier to development. Fred Agbenyo spoke on Metro TV's Good Morning Ghana.
There's a state of the road as we speak now. In fact, this particular road that we are seeing here was awarded under the Cocoa Road project before we left elections in 2016. Unfortunately, when we left, they canceled the contract and the road was abandoned. It is terrible. It is so terrible. During the Harmattan, the place was so dusty, you can't do anything. Now that the rains have set in, you can't just drive, for instance, Likpe Avejeme. They don't have a school at all. And so the students have to trek from Avejeme to other Likpe Bako or Likpe Mate to go to access school. The same if you go to Likpe Alavanyo, we don't have any school there at all. Again, they have to walk. And then if you go to Akpafu Sokpo. Now, from Sokpo all the way to Adoko, which is the nearest community that can access education, it is not a joke. The distance, the rough road, and now that it is raining, how do you ask 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds to walk, all the way to attend school? And because the road is not good, we don't have a number of vehicles even plying the road. In the whole, the only one over no come. So if you miss it in the morning, you will not get a car again. And that's the situation in which we find ourselves. If you are coming from, say, Tetema, Yoma, Sandro, Likpe, Kokurantumi, Abrani, Akpafu, Adoko, and the rest, and you are coming to Ohwe, the shortest and the easiest way is to go through Lolobi, Kumase, Ashambi, and then hit Ohwe. But because of this particular road now, you have to go through Agbozome. And Agbozome road is terrible. All the way to Likpe, Kumase, Mate, before now you continue from Bakwa through Nkwanta to Ohwe. And so the problem we don't have connecting roads in the district. And so if you want to, for example, from Akpafu Odomi to access our district capital, you have to go to Honorable Kofi Adams area, Jasican area, before you come, or you go through Ohwe before you connect. And so our prayer is that we are able to get a road from Akpafu Toji to Akpafu Sokpo. And it's about 10 kilometers. Once we're able to construct that road now, we open up that corridor so that we can now have a central market. Those who are from the Mimpasem, the Santo Kofi area can easily cut their full staff to that area and other people so that around Lolobi then we can have a market.
Away from that business now, as the government has increased the producer price of cocoa from 3,228.78 per bag to 3,625 per bag. The increment takes effect on Friday, October 3, 2025. This was announced by the Finance Minister, Kassiola Toforsen, at the Ministry of Finance.
It is my singular honor to announce that on the basis of the changes that we have affected to the forecast, the government has taken a decision to increase the producer price of cocoa to 3,625 Ghana cedis per bag, or 58,000 Ghana cedis per ton. This simply means that per every bag purchase, the cocoa farmer is getting 400 Ghana cedis additional. Simply put, to the ordinary cocoa farmer, since my last engagement on the 4th of August to today, every bag you will purchase, you will sell to Cocoa Board, you will be getting another 400 Ghana cedis, or 4 million Ghana cedis, old Ghana cedis. 4 million old Ghana cedis. We also want to bring to your knowledge that Ghana Cocoa Board will continue to implement all the interventions to support the cocoa production and the welfare of the cocoa farmer. In particular, Cocoa Board will intensify the supply of free cocoa fertilizers, both liquid and granular, free insecticides, free spraying machines, and free fungicides, and free flower inducers to the cocoa farmer. In addition, Cocoa Board is on track to implement the new tertiary education scholarship scheme for children of cocoa farmers in the 2026-2027 academic year.
Now, Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni has charged judges and magistrates to treat cases on illegal mining and drug abuse with urgency. Speaking at the 2025 Annual General Meeting of the Association of Judges and Magistrates of Ghana, the Chief Justice admonished the inconsistencies in the application of the jail terms for such cases, urging the need for harmonized sentences of such culprits.
Our constitutional role is neither passive nor peripheral. We are the guardians of justice, custodians of the law, and interpreters of the nation's conscience. So our responsibilities in confronting these challenges include upholding the law. We must ensure that prosecutions related to illegal mining and drug trafficking and abuse are handled with seriousness, impartiality, and urgency, and I mean urgency. Where there is evidence, the law must be applied without fear or favor. No person, and I mean no person, regardless of their political affiliation or social status, should be immune from justice. There is a growing public perception that sentences for environmental crimes and drug offenses are either too lenient or inconsistently applied. We must work towards harmonizing sentencing practices to ensure proportionality, deterrence, and fairness. We must fiercely guard our independence from external pressures, be they political, commercial, or social. Our integrity is a bulwark that assures the public that justice is not for sale. In collaboration with the relevant authorities, there are plans to revive the specialized courts created during C.J. Wood's tenure and create or designate some more courts to deal with the increasing number of galamsey, environmental degradation, and drug-related cases. Swift adjudication can boost enforcement efforts and enhance public trust.
More legal issues now. The Attorney General Dominic Ayine says he will work closely with the Chief Justice and Parliament to modernize judicial procedures to align with technological realities for quick justice delivery. Addressing audience at the 2025 annual general meeting of the Association of Judges and Magistrates of Ghana, the Attorney General outlined some progress made so far, but said more needs to be done, including the training of judges.
The annual meeting aimed at congregating judges, magistrates, and staff of the judicial service to, among other things, lay bare key issues bordering the sector players and justice delivery to find lasting solutions to address them. The 2025 edition, which comes with the theme Leveraging Technology to Enhance Justice Delivery, witnessed leadership of the various arms of the judiciary spelled out the key issues, clearly needs urgent response to effective justice delivery in the country. Taking his turn, President of the Association of Judges and Magistrates Ghana, Justice Henry Kofi, noted the inefficiencies must be blamed partly on the lack of motivation for justices and magistrates, which has been a long-standing issue.
Facilities for the performance of functions of the judiciary are given to us as if we don't deserve it. Judges moving around without cars, judges' allowances not being paid. I don't remember the last time I received my medical bills. And it goes for everybody. Medical bills are not, allowances are not released, subvention is not released, even when the thing has been approved. Because that is what Parliament constitutionally is supposed to do.
For his part, Director of the Ghana School of Law, Professor Raymond Atuguba, observed there is a growing concern among the public over lack of confidence in Ghana's justice system, calling for a return of true meaning of the law and justice.
Today, there is growing concern that what lawyers and judges put into the court's crucible is not law, but something else. There is growing concern that what the courts serve from the crucible is not justice, but something else, and that the profession is no longer honorable. We badly need to work on these concerns with utmost urgency. As I have said before, the day we lose the trust of the people, from whom our Constitution says justice emanates, that day we lose our essence, and that day we perish in substance.
The Attorney General, Dominic Ayine, assured of partnerships whilst outlining key measures being considered to address the concerns.
To fully harness technology, I propose 5 priorities. First is a nationwide rollout of e-filing and e-justice platforms to cover all the courts in the country. Second is the institutionalization of virtual hearings in appropriate matters, especially commercial disputes and interlocutory applications. Third is the creation of central digital legal knowledge hub containing statutes, practice directions, and case law. The fourth is a targeted training program for judges, magistrates, and staff on technology, and digital technology. And then the fifth is the public-private partnerships to mobilize funding and expertise for judicial digitalization. Let us remember that.
Let's do some social stories now. As the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Naomo Leta has assured that her ministry is working closely with law enforcement agencies to ensure justice in the case involving the dismissed assistant headmaster of KNUST Senior High School and female students. She made this known during a working visit by Vice President Prof. J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman to the ministry.
The development comes after the Ghana Education Service on September 29, 2025, removed Charles Akwesi Edu, the assistant headmaster, from office and barred him from entering the school, following a viral video that allegedly showed him fondling the breast of a female student. Addressing the matter during a working visit by Vice President Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman to the ministry, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Naomo assured that her ministry is working closely with law enforcement to ensure justice.
We have lots of reports on gender-based violence and then also child abuse. And because of the position of the ministry, we are able to collaborate with the police anytime such issues come up. Of recent is the report, Your Excellency, of the 13-year-old girl with the assistant head master. So even though GES through the school dismissed or suspended the head, we are collaborating with the police to effect the arrest of the man, the perpetrator.
Commenting on the issue, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, described the issue as unfortunate, calling on the GES to hold individuals accountable for the office they occupy.
This has happened. It's not good news, but it's also a question of power and a question of some of us not paying attention to the nature of the responsibilities given to us in any place of work. Maybe not only in the schools, the workplace. It just happens too often. And so public education is also very important. And holding people to account is also very important.
Now, Ghana has officially joined the rest of the world for the first time to mark World Rivers Day with a resounding call for a collaborative action to protect rivers against illegal mining, pollution, and other harmful practices. The Water Resources Commission says the country's freshwater reserves are shrinking fast, saying a collective effort is needed to tackle growing danger.
The Commission has also completed stakeholder consultation for the development of the buffer zone regulations and the water pollution regulations, which are about to be laid before Parliament for adoption. These regulations will go a long way to support sustainable management of it.
That'll be all for the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Helena Nyeweja. Business Edge comes your way right after this break. Do stay with us.
Me pay to the Benjamin. Sister, me dad, dear Betty, Biana, me, and Shishimi. I could eat that. Me many tears, I made a miss. I can't even say. Me made us to take it. Sika, sit down to the moon. Did you see a moon? Baggy the one, yeah. You may be free. So, what you say bag number? One number to show. Wow. That's a minute one for you. Banana Monsolio. Hey!
His uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa, dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be later?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. Yeah, you go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky, everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame.
Send your God down for boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the Son of Man be. Hey! Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
And welcome back from the break. This is the Business Edge, and I'm Desmond Okrekuda, so sitting in for Kwesi Efere, and Helen just brought us the news updates. Well, coming up this afternoon on Business Edge, very, very important conversations that we will be having. Well, I just want to ask if you've heard about AGOA. AGOA, A-G-O-A. Well, if you haven't, that is the African Growth and Opportunities Act. Well, the truth is that it has come to an end. It's been a very important part for traders in Africa who want to put their stuff out there in the United States, exporting that. And the issue now is that it has ended on the 30th of September. That 25-year deal ended. Over the years, it has been renewed, but now it has ended. A lot of African exporters have depended on this particular act over the years to send their produce to the United States. There's less, tariffs on there. It's giving some free markets over the years. But now that it's ended, what are we going to do? A lot of countries, in fact, across the African continent, are complaining or have braced themselves for this one, looking at the fact that there's going to be some challenges that they'll be facing moving forward. But for us as Ghana, what has it been over the past 25 years, and how do we move on from now that the deal has ended? We'll interrogate that. And later on the show, the President, John Dramani Mahama, sent out invitations to CSOs in the environmental space, and the President wants to sit down and have a frank dialogue with all of these CSOs tomorrow, that is October 3, about illegal mining and how we can actually fight it. And a lot of conversations going on. A few days ago, we spoke to Franklin Cudjoe on the news, and he was saying that this was not necessary. Well, he doesn't think that, it is of any necessity, but he would attend anyways. We'll engage some other stakeholders also and find out from them what their thoughts are. If they go for that meeting, what are they going to talk about? Well, the peasant farmers have been complaining that a lot of their farmlands have been taken over by illegal miners, and what really is the repercussions there? If we get to interrogate that also. And for our cocoa sector, remember that it's one of the resources that we hold dear to our hearts. What is it going to be like for us in this era of illegal mining, where a lot of people are even giving out their cocoa farms willingly to illegal miners to use their lands? We'll talk about that. But before we get onto that, let me remind you that we're live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, DSTV channel 277, and also on the multi-TV Digibox. For now, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring on the international market compared to some of the currencies, and we'll have that now. Let's take a look at the cedi to the dollar, the exchange rate. See that on the screen. The exchange rate, the cedi to the dollar, you buy that at 12 cedis, yes, and it will be sold at 12.4562. So, buying 12 cedis, 44 pesos, and it will be sold at 12 cedis, 45 pesos. So that's the cedi to the dollar. We'll move on to the British pound, and that is still around 16 cedis. So it's being bought at 16 cedis as of today, 76 pesos thereof, and also selling at 16 cedis, 78 pesos. So that's the cedi to the pound sterling. And then to the euro. There's 14 Ghana cedis, and that is how it is being bought. 14 cedis, 59 pesos, or 56 pesos, if you put it that way with the rounding, and also being sold at 14 cedis, 61 pesos. So that is it's for the exchange rate as we have for you today. So you could just get onto the market and just see what is happening with the current exchanges. So just a bit of a background to AGOA, right? So the trade law was actually passed in 2000, right? And this gave free duty access, to the U.S. market, and a lot of African countries have benefited from that. And as I mentioned, it has come to an end on the 30th of September. It came to an end. There's been lots of conversations around it, how we're going to move forward as an African continent, trying to get our produce out there a lot of companies would have to make a number of decisions because it is going to, they're going to pay tariffs now when they are sending their goods to the United States, and the issue about whether workers would have to be laid off to be able to do that, because they're going to get into, you know, situations like that. And so we'll connect to our very good friend, Samson Awingobet, who will be joining us very soon via Zoom. But of course, you can share with us on our social media platforms and be part of the conversation, anything that you can share with us here. So let's get into the conversation. Samson Asaki Awingobet is Executive Director of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Business Edge. Can you hear me, Mr. Awingobet? Okay, so we're still trying to establish the connection with Samson Asaki Awingobet, who is Executive Director for the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, and also Louise Afo is Group Executive Director of AFTA Policy Network. We'll also hear from him on this particular one. So this is a big deal for African countries when it comes to business, because U.S. has a very big market. We all know that. And over the years, they have worked making sure that, you know, the goods get there with, as I mentioned, less tariffs, free market, all of these things. But now it has come to an end. And what are the challenges that we will be definitely, what the consequences will be? So let's talk to Louise Afo. I think we have Louise on now. Louise, Mr. Afo, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Hello, Mr. Afo. Okay. We're still trying to connect with our guests who join us via Zoom right now to talk about all of this. So let me just give some more details for those of us who are hearing of this for the very first time and the impact that it is going to have. So the purpose really of this AGOA was to boost economic growth, development in sub-Saharan Africa, also to promote U.S.-Africa trade. It's just part of the whole diplomacy thing that is going on between Africa and the U.S., and also to strengthen relations. But for Ghana, we have benefited so much from this particular deal. So when it comes to the textiles, when it comes to cocoa, agro-processed food, all of these things, we have benefited over the years. But now that it has come to an end, 25 years, it's been renewed over a period of time, but now it's gone. What are we doing? What is the way forward for that? And so we'll get to hear that from our guests who will be joining us very soon. And then, as I mentioned later on the show, illegal mining, of course, it's one of the topical issues in the country. And as I mentioned, the president wants to meet CSOs and have a frank, conversation with them about how we can do that. Remember that there's been a number of initiatives, and the very last one that we had that conversation was about the president meeting the press and what he said about, fighting illegal mining. A lot of people who are not satisfied with the answer that he gave will interact with our guests later on the show. But for now, let's get back to the AGOA conversation and speak to Louise Afo. Louise, Mr. Afo, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me now?
I do. I can hear you very well.
Fantastic.
Good afternoon. And good afternoon.
Great. Welcome to the program. Now, this is a big deal after 25 years, and we have to brace ourselves for what is next for us. As I was asking, maybe a lot of people don't know about this deal, but how important has this deal been to Africa, particularly Ghana?
So good afternoon to viewers, good afternoon to panelists, and Samson. So your question is, how significant is this aspiration of the AGOA?
In the first place, how significant it had been to the African market, particularly Ghana, and then we'll look at the consequences of it being done now.
Well, I think that anything trade where your tax on export, which is tariff, if your tax on export is really a bit flexible, you will be grateful. And so if AGOA that sort to have given more like the gateway for most African products to have its way in the US market at a very free, let me put it that way, free tariffs, then of course it's significant. Then it's important, it's good. Especially when we had fragmented markets, okay? We had fragmented markets. And so you've had one big economy, or the biggest economy, saying, look, bring your products, this sector, garments, agribusiness, you know, and other few areas. And then you were able to sail through for almost 25 years. I think that be it whether huge or not, you still have made some significant export cost ratios. So yes, it has helped beat down our export cost ratios. It has opened up the market for African products by the biggest economy. And then again, it offered a lot of employment to businesses that were exporting under AGOA. My initial comment.
Great. And looking at the fact that it was actually renewed a couple of times. So in 2004, 2006, 2015, they were renewed. But the last renewal took 10 years, which ended just a few days ago on the 30th of September. What plans do you think that we have put in place for exporters, for trade people, especially in Ghana, to move on from this particular deal?
Thank you. I think that you've answered the question yourself. Ghana now, Africa, or Ghana now belongs to the second largest free trade agreement, which is the ASCFTA. Now that fragmented market, which led us to really welcome AGOA, has now been integrated under AFTA. What it means is that even we have gone further to dismantle tariffs under ASCFTA. So we have flexible tariff regimes. So for example, unlike the AGOA that was, we had to be at the beck and call and do it when the police officer will come and say, look, I'm no more interested. With AFTA, the countries sign on to the tariff regime they want to belong to so that you can be flexible. So if you want to sign up to 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, within that 10 years, 5 years, you'll be liberalizing step by step, so that it shouldn't become a certain kind of albatross on you. That is significant. Why? Because at the end of the day, you were able to build on your comparative advantage and export more to a market closer to you, a market that will be liberalizing tariffs on every year, so zero tariff, just like outside. And of course, most of the product that will be exporting under AGOA, under ASCFTA, the same, and even more. Under the ASCFTA, you have more services. Under AGOA, it was only products. But under ASCFTA, you have products and you have services. So I think that we need to, it's good to move on within this ASCFTA policy framework. Not only that ETLS have also been there, it's also good to move on within these free trade offers that we ourselves have signed on to.
And that's one of the things that was coming to intra-African trade. It's one of the concerns that I'm sure, of course, Beth, the AFCFTA Secretary, to be able to make sure that we trade amongst ourselves. But really, what is the understanding amongst ourselves as Africans to be able to trade amongst ourselves that we wouldn't feel the brunt of this AGOA deal, going off amongst us, the respective blocks, trading amongst us, the various things that we do? How can we increase that? What is the awareness of us as a continent to trade amongst ourselves?
Thank you. Currently, what is happening is that I'm saying that I think that we have reached a point where we need to listen to the heartbeat of our economies. I want to make that point. We need to listen to the heartbeats of our economies. It's like when you are driving a car, you have to listen to the engine so that you know what is happening on the road. So you have to tone down the loudness. We made it loud, which is very important, but we need to listen to the heartbeat of our economy. And by listening to the heartbeat of your economy, you need to look at the structural needs of your economy. When you look at the structural needs, you make what we call the detours or the signs, the pointing signs to what should be done. The ASCFTA provided a framework, provided a market accessibility, provided a system where intra-African trade can be boosted. Therefore, it provided what we call significant benchmarks of which you can use to know that whether you are really performing under the agreement. For example, it talks about trade policy. What is Ghana's trade policy? You need to have a solid trade policy that is looking at import substitution. I don't want to import this anymore. I want to build local market. I want to build local industry. So you have to have a solid trade policy within the ASCFTA, which would be import substitution. You cannot continue to import rice, maybe from outside, and just giving a point, where you could also have about 50% capacity here. So you have to look at a policy like that if it's import substitution. Apart from import trade policy, you have to also look at trade finance. How are you financing exporters? How are you financing export development? If you take a critical look at the 24-hour economy, if you take a critical look at the 1D, 1F, these are good policies to develop export. How could we finance it? I think both of them, it all will thrive on finance.
Right.
So that's the like of having the likes like I drop at this point, Exim Bank, the Ghana Exim Bank. Its mandate is to finance exports and to finance ASCFTA. So if you really want to really filter in as you have asked, then we need as a country to look at all our trade policies, look at trade finance, and then look at our trade infrastructure, related infrastructure.
Right. Thank you. You'd hold on. We have back on Zoom with us Samson Awingobit. Good afternoon, Mr. Awingobit. Can you hear me now? Hello, Mr. Awingobit. Okay, we're still trying to get the executive director of the Exporters and Importers.
Yes, I can hear you. What about you?
Great. I can hear you just a little.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great.
Yes,
great.
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us for this very, very important conversation. For you as exporters and importers, you must have known about this. What has been the reaction so far?
Well, quite clearly, the reaction is not good. But I think yesterday, His Excellency the President addressed the country and made mention that government of Ghana is engaging the government of the U.S. To discuss the issues. I think it's long overdue. I believe that at the time that the President came and said that he was slapping 10% and later on called subject for negotiation. We saw him to say, look, you cannot give us 100.
Mr. Awingobit, we're losing you. We're losing you. The connection is not exactly clear. I don't know if you could just shift, make a change in position to see if that could work. Oh dear, it's the connection is not allowing us to have a very smooth conversation with Samson Awingobit, who's the Executive Director of the Exporters and Importers Association of Ghana. This is very key to them. I would still try and connect with them for this conversation. Let's get back to Louise Affo and Mr. Affo. So, you say that we should try and, get to study our economies, right? That was the point you were making.
We need to listen to the heartbeats of our economy.
Okay.
We need to listen to the heartbeat of economic structure, our structural economy. What is it that we need? If you don't listen to your heartbeat, you defy and ignore certain signals. That is very important. The free trade is to give you, or AGOA was to give you the market accessibility, but it does not change your economy. It doesn't change the structure of your economy. If your structure of your economy is it's always going to be producing non-finished products, and it's going to be raw materials. It doesn't add anything.
Okay, Louis, kindly hold on. We have Mr. Awingobit back on with us this time via phone, so we can continue with our conversation. Mr. Awingobit, welcome back. Now let's go and ask you on the phone now. You were making a point, please. Can you go on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Great, it's clear now. It's clear now. You can go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. We can hear you. It's clear now. You can go on. Yeah.
So your question again?
Yes, I was asking about your reaction. And you were talking about the president speaking to the nation.
Okay. So I was saying that long overdue. It was long overdue. We were thinking that the government should have at the time. Yes. So I was saying that we were thinking about when the government of America called off the negotiations and give countries 3 months, 90 days to come and negotiate. We saw how China went full-fledged. They went in and they negotiated. China government said America cannot just wake up and unilaterally slap 154 penalties, tariff on them, just like that. If that is the case, they were also going to slap American goods entering their country over 150 as well. Remember, they came in, they did back and forth engagement. Then at the end of the day, the American government, they says, okay, I'm coming to 34%. Then China government say, okay, I'm also giving you 30% of your goods on tariff entry in our market. Then when it came back to Ghanaian community, unfortunately, we did not. The negotiations, we didn't go full-fledged. I was thinking that EU, African Union should have gone in to negotiate as a bloc, to say, look, African countries cannot come to negotiate based on their own countries, but EU would rather represent us. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I guess yesterday, on the 1st of October, I think His Excellency the President swearing in the new envoy to go and represent us in other jurisdictions. President used the opportunity to make mention that government of Ghana is still in talks with the American government. However, the 30th September has come to expiration. The AGOA technically is gone off. So if we are negotiating, at what time? Is there any 1 month moratorium? Is there any 2 months moratorium, 3 months moratorium given to Ghana? That for now, whilst government of Ghana have shown the goodwill to say we want to negotiate with the American government, we are asking Ghanaian produce to continue coming for the next 2 months, for the next 1 month, or for the next 3 months. Whilst government of Ghana is engaging the American government to see what is the way forward. So I remember when UK was exiting from EU, they asked countries to come in direct to negotiate it. Then Ghana went to negotiate with EU. Mind you, most of our export produce goes into EU market as well. So that was what I was thinking. But as we speak now, we are in dilemma because if you take off the African Growth and Opportunity Act, the AGOA Act, many Ghanaians have devolved the market of the United Nations. Many Ghanaians have been sending a lot of cargo into the US market. As we speak, cocoa derivative cannot go. As we speak, jewelry cannot go. As we speak, garment cannot go. Textiles cannot go. Many of the products that we're exporting under quota-free, duty-free to the U.S. market, today on the 2nd of October, what it means is that if I'm clearing my cargo today in the U.S. market or in the U.S. port, you have to pay that 15% tariff slap on us. So I do not know. There need to be a far-reaching statement than to say we are negotiating. We appreciate what the president said, but I think the government needs to issue a statement to say, look, we have had engagement with the American government. American government has given us 2 months moratorium or 3 months moratorium or 1 month moratorium. We can still export into it under even though it's no longer a law, but a gentleman agreement or memorandum of understanding between the two nations. Once we will conclude by this date of this month, then potential exporters will be setting. As we speak, what it means is that when we had the AGOA in 2000 and then renewed it in 2015, many companies, even including American companies, came down to set up factories here. If you go to our Free Zone Enclave, you will see a lot of factories that are producing shea butter for export. And shea butter is one of the products that enter into the American market, especially the cosmetics industry and the pharmaceutical industries in America are buying shea butter from Ghana to produce those products. And so all these companies that are producing under free zone enclave, we consume 30% of their product here. 70% of their product goes into the U.S. market, including companies that are doing chocolate, companies that are doing cocoa drinks and stuff like that, are all exporting to the U.S. market. Last year alone, I think we did about almost $340 million or so. And 2023, that's 2022 thereabout, the export from African countries were about 30 billion. Ghana alone made 10.5 or $10.2 billion. So today, if we are no longer going to get this access, what it means that a lot of the small SMEs who are also exporting and bringing those who are sending baskets, those who are sending tie and dye batik, those who are sending shea butter in boxes, those who are sending smoke fish and others, and bringing the forest back as proceeds. That goes to our commercial bank to enable our business people who also want to embark on importations. That as I speak now, I just saw the rate you displayed on your screen. A dollar is now going up to 12.4, right? I think 12.44 or so in your system. So what it means is that there's going to be a challenge on that. If we cannot export, if we cannot expedite this negotiation, if we cannot give clear guidelines, direction to exporters are uncertain. They don't know what to do. Whether what the president said yesterday, if I'm sending my product today to the U.S. market, when you get to the port, will I clear it for free, or I'm going to pay the 15% while government is in talks? We need to know. And that's the challenge we are having.
Now the deal is already, I mean, we're facing it. How are we getting ourselves to adapt to it? Are we looking at exploring other markets?
Am I doing the question?
Yeah, I'm saying that as it is now, how are we exploring other markets and also adapting ourselves to what we have currently?
How are we worried in the market? Is that what you said?
I am asking that what we have now, as AGOA is gone, how are we adapting?
Your platform is having both your Zoom and
you're not able to hear me.
It's having some challenge. I don't know if you can repeat the last question again from here. I didn't hear that one.
So I'm asking that how are we adapting to this? Are we looking at exploring other markets? In the face of what we have now.
What is the options? Now that the American government is slapping 15% on us, the implementation is taking effect. What is the way forward? The way forward is yes. I know that the government of Ghana were able to reach out to Can you hear me? The American government were able to, Ghana government were able to reach out to Chinese government, and then Chinese government has given Ghanaian, I think 0% market entry. What it means is that our product can go to the China market without paying any tariff to them. But the point is, this is a new market. We need to do rules. Now that we're having a new ambassador going to that place, they have to go and do more market, more exhibition for the Chinese to also understand. Even though we'll be exporting some commodities into the Chinese market, but now that they've opened their market to us. And so you know how it takes. You have to spend more money to do advertisement. You have to spend more money to do shows. You have to spend more money to do exhibition for them to put into the idea, for them to accept us, and so that we can also embark. It's a big market, of course, but it's not just a short term. It's not just a medium. It's a medium to long term system that we should be looking at. Then, of course, I want to agree with my brother Louis, who spoke about the AfTA. African Cultural Free Trade is here. The Secretariat is here in Ghana. Ask me, when we first embark on exportations to among ourselves, go and ask the story between Kasafreco and Jandor Cosmetics. When they send their products to South Africa, what was their challenge? The challenge here is we have 54 states, African Union countries. Yet I think about 44 or so, good number of them have agreed and have signed to the compact, to the African Union Continental Free Trade Area.
Right.
But many countries went back to their countries and did not submit the instrument to their customs. So their customs have not even incorporated it into their product. But Ghana, we have done that. And so the point here is, yes, even moving to African countries among ourselves is not even all that free as it's supposed to be. But the European Union, you can go to any of the countries, if you are a member, without even a visa, you don't need a visa, you don't need to show a hotel residence before you can move in. But we have that challenges here. Now that many countries are now trying to ease that visa restriction and everything. Another bigger challenge is that we do not have even coastline where a vessel can take goods from Ghana here, say I'm taking it to Togo. Where they can take a goods from Ghana here, say I'm taking it to China, Kenya, or South Africa, or any other of the African countries. We do not have a straight vessels.
Right.
Okay? So we even go to AU to discuss. We are not talking about how can we develop our coastline. Apart from that, we do not have cargo plane, where a cargo plane can pick cargo here straight to any of the African countries. So goods must have to go back if it becomes exported by sea, which is very cheap in terms of sea freight as compared to air cargo freight. Air cargo freight is very expensive, very high, but sea freight is the best. But you have if the ship is taking your cargo today is going to take it to Europe, then before it come back to African countries. That is also going to be one of the disadvantages on that. Even though, yes, we all want to penetrate the 1.2 billion people, $3.2 billion or whatever trade that we're supposed to have among ourselves. But the point is, even as I speak, taking certain commodities from Ghana here to Nigeria here, our big brothers, I can tell you, they will tell you no, they will push back this product would not come. It's about over 40 or over 44 items. You can't take it from Ghana here to even Africa and to Nigeria here. But yet, we are all part of the African Continental Free Trade. And so, on paper, yes, but it's a lip service that we're having. So, I can tell you, if we do not get any proactive, clear-cut guidelines from the American government, Ghana government, for our exporters, in the next 3 months, I won't be surprised if the cedi will run to 20 cedis to $1. I won't be surprised because it is the export that will bring proceeds back. And so if these SMEs are pushed out because they cannot afford to pay that 15%, even when there was 10%, we're crying. Now they move it to 15%. And so it's a big challenge. And that's why I think that Minister of Trade from the central government, as the President addressed yesterday, should have directed Minister of Trade to issue a statement, tell exporters they shouldn't be worried. They can continue exporting. We have a window from now to maybe January or March next year. If you are unable to meet the demand from American government and American government does not accept, then we can now look for elsewhere. But for now, we can continue with the gentleman agreement or with a memorandum of understanding between these two nations. We can continue to export into the U.S. market. I told you, and I made mention a quite number of products that we are exporting to the U.S. market. That brings in forest. Even bringing forest proceeds to the country, we still have a challenge. Now that if people are pushed out, then that is going to be we are going to be in limbo, and I think that's not good for our economy. As we speak now, what do you call it? As we speak now, the inflation has come to 9.5 or 9.4. As we speak now, I think I also saw lending rate have also from the Bank of Ghana, the prime rate has also, but it means that interest rates will also come down. If all these positive indications are good for us, we need to also export more. And that's the government agenda, is for us to export more to the European market, export more to the U.S. market, export more to China and the rest. And above all, I'm told that the President will be meeting CSOs tomorrow on the Galamsey issue. You know that EPA and their collaborators have done some research, and about 6 good regions where we know, as in Ghana here, that these regions are food buffers zones. And I tell you, many of AGWA will also export food items to EU market, to US and the rest. That the macro issue has come. It's a challenge that also can also hit us back if this country decides to say, no, if we found macro in your product, we cannot bring your product, we cannot accept your product in our country. And so I'm looking forward to see how tomorrow discussions will be and how we are going to address this issue to avoid us exporters being suffered.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Really, really salient points that you have raised there. Thank you. Samson Asakia Wingobit is Executive Director of the Exporters and Importers Association of Ghana. He raised very important points, especially with the cedi. If things are not put in place as soon as possible, maybe seeing some challenges with that. So let's get back to the Group Executive Director of AFCFTA, Policy Network, Louise Afo. You heard Mr. Wingobit speaking there, and as I mentioned, he raised 2 key important areas in terms of the impact this will have on the cedi and trade amongst ourselves as Africans. He made an example of Ghana to Nigeria. There's so much challenges. He's asking that there are some other things that can help developing the trade routes through the sea, through the air, and all of that. Mr. Afo, your thoughts on that before we wrap it up?
Yeah. So those were valid points he made. Like I said, the intra-African trade depends on trade-related infrastructure. There is a need for African economies to build strong trade-related infrastructure. After producing, how do you want the goods to go? So you need to have a concerted or conscious effort, or a kind of a deliberate or an intentional effort for governments to do infrastructure JVs. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Burkina Faso can engage in trade infrastructure joint ventures, JVs, projects. If we are building bridges, we are building. If we are having like the Lagos, Abidjan, Accra corridor, which is about to commence, it's a six lane in here. It's a tunnel. That is a good infrastructure, like the expansion of the hub, like the inland port at Bankore, and so many I can list. That should be replicated in all other African countries, because if you do it at one side of the border and you are moving to another border where you have infrastructure deficiencies, you can expect trade to be very difficult, number one. Number two, one area that we have to also look at critically, as he said, is to have market accessibility data. If even the World Bank sometimes struggles to get, most of the embassies struggle to have data from Ghana. They have to fall on World Bank. We need to really invest in data. If you invest in data, it helps you to project and make policies. Another critical area about the AFCFTA issue is that it's not just the name. You see, it is just a foundation built up for what we're doing. Critical issue we have to find ourselves is we need to be able to identify products and finished products. When we identify it and do the good finishing, you will attract fair terms of trade. You attract favorable terms of trade. Most of our products are the same. We have similar products across Africa, and that does not really fetch us value addition. And so we need to employ technology. We need to employ the best technologies so that we'll be able to produce value-added products. That will even not become a border if we lose agua, because once your product is value-added, it attracts. It's a demand and supply pool. This is very, very important. What are we doing with ICT? ICT has been liberalized under AFCFTA. One app, one ICT product, let's use Uber. The millions of employment Uber is making for other people, the inventor is not an African. Take Zoom, when we had COVID. It's an ICT product, services. What is the platform? Our digital trade, how expansive have we been? These are all intra-African trade products that we need to tap to expand. But since we have become a bit focused on just some of the few non-finished products and we are trading among us, when we do that, we'll become very vulnerable. I want to extend this point by saying, look, let's take Apple products, iPhone.
And Mr. Afo, I'll need you to wrap it up, sorry, so much, in the next minute so we can wrap up with this conversation.
Yes, Apple, what is Apple value, market value? It's over trillions. That is even closer to Africa's combined GDP is not yet up to Apple. Why? But Apple had just one product called Apple iPhones and what have you, and the value addition. So we need to build an economy, a structured economy with value-added products, with technology. And that is what will attract the favorable terms of trade.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time here. Louis Afo is Group Executive Director of AFCFTA Policy Network. Thank you very much for your time. You're still watching Business Edge. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
This BB9 Jazz Season 10, no filters holding back, cause it's 10 times the drama, 10 times the rivalry, 10 times the game. This is certified. No zero, no minus. Big Brother 9 Jazz Season 10 on Showmax.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame? As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Huh?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From Natepia cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God down for boom. If you put it to here, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Welcome back from the break. You're watching Business Edge here on Metro TV. I am Desmond Ukreku-Danso, sitting in for Emmanuel Kosiefi today. Our next conversation is going to be a quick one, and that is on the president's request to meet with CSOs on the devastating impact of illegal mining in the country, to Georgia, to brainstorm and to have a frank conversation with them. And join us for this conversation, we have Konyame Cheteria, a senior project manager of ProForest. He's joined us via Zoom. And also we have Obedo Usu-Adai, co-convener, Ghana Civil Society, Cocoa Platform, and also Bismarck Owusu Tete, acting executive director, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. So these three, but of course we have Bismarck and Echo for now. Echo, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Echo.
And good afternoon. Greetings to your listeners.
Great.
And everyone.
Bismarck, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers.
Great. Gentlemen, welcome. Echo, first off, when you got the invitation, what was the reaction, and what has been the preparation towards meeting the president tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that generally the issue of Galamsey is generating a lot of interest in Ghana, not in the last year, but for the recent years that has generated a lot of interest. And I think that the president's call is in the right direction to take steps to actually nip this in the bud, at least if not completely, to a greater extent, to save the situation.
Your work really is about the forest. Tomorrow, if you meet the president and you're you are asked to share what you want to share with what is happening now. What are the key things that you're going to tell the president about our forest reserves and what it is looking like now?
Yeah, I think that for some of the work that we've done recently, we realized that the habitat loss for some rare, threatened, and endangered species is accelerated. Once you lose your forest, you're losing rare, threatened, and endangered flora and fauna species. Some of the species are endemic to the region. You would not get it somewhere, so future generations would have to resort to historical narratives to be able to appreciate what we had in the past. Fast forward, I think that the steps that need to be taken must be urgent. I think that there should be a strong political commitment from government to address this issue to the core.
Okay. Bismarck, for you as peasant farmers, we know what the challenge has been. Farmlands are being lost to these illegal miners. In fact, some farmers, I should say, willingly are giving their cocoa farms out, because of what they're being exchanged or getting from these illegal miners. What is the havoc really that this has caused to our farmlands?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon again. I think that the menace of Galamsey on systems have been heavily documented. And I think in as much as we try to focus on the farmlands that have already been destroyed, at least the latest data that we had was close to 1.2 million hectares of farmlands are already gone. But if you even look beyond the farmlands, you're also looking at the polluted water bodies that is making irrigation farming very difficult. So you are seeing a lot of migration of farmers who are into all-year farming to one seasonal farming, which is not ideal. We are also looking at our labor, which is gradually becoming difficult because we are having all these youths moving into Galamsey instead of doing other economic work. Aside that, I think we all were listening to the recent report about the metals in our food. So the quality of food is also compromised. So I think that for me, the issues are clearly well laid out. The president and the government of the day actually knows what is going on. They have all the information. In terms of our recommendations, they are very clear as to what we want them to do. Your question regarding instances where some farmers will have to willingly give out their farmlands, there are a lot of considerations to that. There are instances where a farmer is being coerced to give out his or her land. The farmer disagrees, but the next time you come back to your farm, your adjoining lands have all been taken over, so you don't even have access to your own farm. So at the moment, you are torn to make a choice. Either you give it to them involuntarily, or you lose the farm in its entirety. And farmers are forced to make a choice. For some of them who give them out willingly, they look at their short-term economic gains. So you can have a cocoa farmer who has done cocoa for all these years. In his life, he hasn't seen 50,000, 100,000 before. And you have an illegal miner providing that money for you to take over your farm. Some of them, because of those circumstances, they are forced to give out their lands. So the problems go much deeper, and we need to find a way to plug all the holes to even prevent or limit the illegal miners from even getting access to the farmlands to destroy them. And that's why I think that in as much as this meeting of the CSO is quite important and crucial, the way forward, the action that needs to be taken are quite clear. And for me and for us, our expectation is that the president and his team will be able to let us know the practical steps that government wants to take.
Okay.
What are the key milestones that we should be looking at? What are the timelines we should be looking at? We've also made a case about the need for the state of emergency who the president feels they are not there yet. So maybe he can articulate to us what he feels
should be
the
done.
right time to declare a state of emergency.
All right.
What he feels is the right time to this can happen.
Okay. Time is one of our best friend now, but Bismarck, you've made very salient points, and so we're hoping that when you meet the president, you'll be able to say that to him and have a very fruitful conversation. Just a quick one in 30 seconds. What should we be assured from your quarters tomorrow?
In terms of what?
In terms of the meeting with the president and how we can tackle this.
Yeah, I think that the key thing is that we expect some political willingness on the part of national leadership. And then we also expect that we will walk the talk beyond the discussions tomorrow. And that concrete actions, a clear action plan will be drawn to address this menace that we're all facing. Okay.
Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Join us this afternoon for this very important conversation. Eko Nyamiche Tewi is Senior Project Manager at Pro Forest. And also you heard from Bismarck Osutete, the Acting Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. This will wrap up the show. For more news, log on to our website, www.metrotvonline.com for all your stories there, and of course for all your current affairs, sports and social interest stories. You can find that actually on that particular platform. This has been Business Edge with me, Desmond Dokrekodan. So starting for Kwesi Ephraim. Kudos to the production team. We're back. That is today's Thursday, so we're back on Tuesday. Actually, tomorrow, Annie Fampofu will be here. Enjoy the rest of our programs. I am Desmond Okrekodan, so have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Some loves are born in the blink of an eye.
I've been madly in love with her since the first time I saw her. Then let's get married today.
I'll be the happiest woman in the world by your side.
And they kill your soul in a flash. Televisa presents You Are the One. Angela dreams of keeping her promise to be a great doctor and help her people. To Alvaro, ambition is stronger than his dream, and this greed will lead